What's up everybody, I hope you're all doing great. Welcome back to Cilinix Crypto and welcome back to another video for the trading education I do on this channel. I haven't made a video like this on trading education for trading cryptocurrencies in some time. I was moving, I was on vacation, and a whole different set of excuses. Doesn't matter, we're back now, and in this video we're going to be talking about one of the most difficult subject, I think, to discuss in trading. One of the most difficult indicators to use. It's an indicator you can use in a lot of ways, but it's also one of the most requested ones, and that is the Fibonacci retracement. Fibonacci retracement is something I use a lot in trading. It kind of depends on the market circumstances when to use it. Fibonacci retracement overall and in general works better if there's a lot of volume and if the market is trending. All right, so those are two things to already remember. But in this video, what I wanted to do, I'm not going to make it too long. I want to go over what is a Fibonacci retracement, how does it work, how can you use it. There are basically two ways you can use that. But also, I just wanted to grab this chart and kind of do some Fibonacci retracement on that. All right, so just to show you how I draw these Fibonacci retracements, because as I said, there are a lot of different ways to draw a Fibonacci retracement. So let's actually grab a Fibonacci retracement with us, which is found here at the left menu on the tradingview.com. It's the best site to analyze, I think. Fib retracement, and if you grab it, what you get is something different than this. I edited I have edited it down to something like this, but when you grab it for the first time, I think you got all these colors. But basically what it is something you drag from top to bottom, or what is also possible is from bottom to top. And what it gives you is it gives you certain levels based upon the Fibonacci sequence, which is a sequence that is thought of by Mr. Fibonacci. And it's basically certain levels which occur a lot in nature. So whether you believe in it or not, it does occur a lot in nature. And apart from that, it's also a self-fulfilling prophecy. So because Fibonacci retracement is there and a lot of people use it, certain levels tend to work. That's just the reality of it. So that is basically what it is. All right, it's from top to bottom or from bottom to top, depending on which one was. So here you got a top and then a bottom, so you drag it from top to bottom. But if you want a Fibonacci retracement of this move, you drag it bottom to top. Let's quickly check out the settings. So some Fibonacci retracement levels are stronger than others. Strongest ones are the 382 and the 618. Depending on certain crypto pairs, and you have to do your research yourself, backtest certain cryptos and trading on them, the 0.5 could be strong too, and the 0.236 in certain situations is pretty strong too. The thing is, and you really have to remember that, is that when you actually want to use Fibonacci and you want to find out which levels are strong and when other levels are strong, what you have to do is backtest. That's the main thing you have to do in trading. Backtest, backtest, backtest. I've backtested for multiple days in hours, and that's why I have these numbers, and in certain situations I know which one is good. So yeah, those are basically the settings. As you can see, I use a 236, 382, 0.5 and a 618 of those levels. All right, so we talked about what it actually is. It's basically a sequence. So the sequence is different from this, but this is basically the sequence in percentages. We talked about how to draw it in general. We'll get into a little bit more details very quickly, don't worry about that. And also how it works. So let's actually talk about how to actually use it. There are two ways to use it. The main one is just to look for entries with it. All right, so these levels are key levels. So this could be support or resistance. So in this case, for this move, it would be resistance. But it could also turn support if that resistance gets broken. All right, so what you could do is, for example, draw a fib like this, draw a fib like this, and then based on those levels trade. So for example, if we just take a look at the other fib, what you can see is that we actually found support at that level right there, found support at the 382, So as you can see, even though the initial move was gone, because most people use it like in a move like this, they have that and they only trade at, for example, here, the 618. It was a good buy limit and then they delete it. But you can also just keep those fibs there. That's usually what I do, because even if that move was, for example, a month ago, the levels still remain significant in certain ways. That's why I keep them. But again, test that out for yourself, see what works for you. But if we take a look at how most people use the Fibonacci, so you got one significant move, you draw it from the top to the bottom, and you can see that at the 236 there was a great selling opportunity. So that's one way you can see that and how you can use that. Another way in which you can use that is that if, for example, we get a move like this and we find resistance at the 236, what that means is that the trend is very strong. That's what Fibonacci, if you read about it in textbooks, that's how it's used. All right. So if, for example, we're just going to do something like this, just going to show you. If we get a move like this from the top to the bottom, and we get a move to this, we got a very strong downtrend. If we get a move up to the 382, we still got a strong downtrend, but a little bit less strong. If we get a move up to the 0.5, there's a downtrend, but not that strong. And if we get a move up to the 618, again, there is a downtrend, but not strong, like a very weak downtrend. I mean, and you'll probably do something like this. All right. So that's also what you can use that for, basically indicating the strength of a trend. So now let's actually get into the most interesting part, but perhaps also the most difficult part. How do I draw Fibonacci levels? And I have to be honest with you, there are a lot of ways in which you can use and draw Fibonacci retracement levels. So I would definitely recommend you to also check out other videos and test it out. That's the best thing you can do if you want to learn trading. Test it out, see what works. So for example, and a question you might have asked before is, why didn't I draw it from here? Because you could say, yeah, this was the top, right? But basically what I do is that when I draw Fibonacci, for example, I could draw Fibonacci from here, and you can see the 236 works. But once the price actually gets above the 382, I don't extend it anymore. All right. So for example, why would I extend it from here? Is because if you draw to this bottom, we didn't even touch the 382 and we didn't break above that. So I'm going to extend it. And right here, we touch the 236, found resistance there. But for example, if we drop down lower right now, if we drop down to 20,000, then I could still extend it because we haven't yet touched the 382. That 382 is holy for me. All right. Once we break above that, I will not extend the fib. The fib could still be useful. For example, this fib, if the price would stay above here, excuse me, and this video is getting pretty long, so I'm going to try to go through this pretty quickly. So this fib, for example, is still useful, for example, if we stayed up here. Now I would delete it because we didn't stay up here, but these levels are still valid. I just wouldn't drag it down anymore. And that's also the reason why I started this fib right here. All right, because if you drag it from the bottom to the next top, we retrace to the 382, so it's still possible. We drag it to here, oh, still the 382. All right, so it was actually valid because we didn't go through the 382 or we didn't move under it. We touched it and then went up even more. So I could extend it to here. And what you can see is that 236 was pretty strong. Again, we didn't touch the 382, so I am going to extend it even more. Again, the 236 was a great trade. Didn't touch the 382, so I can extend it to the next top. And here, I wouldn't extend it to this top right here. This is the maximum I'm going to extend because after touching this top, we went down all the way to the 0.5. All right, so we broke that 382. So I can no longer extend it to the next top. And that's how I use Fibonacci levels. I don't use them to indicate the trend. I only use them to see what levels are strong. And I pair them up with different indicators. You can find out more on the Discord too about that. Link is down in the description about my strategy. I pair them up with other indicators, and based on that, I take my trades. All right, and for every indicator, it's the same. The higher the time frame, the stronger the indicator. All right, so if I use a Fibonacci on the daily, it's stronger than when I would use it on the 4 hour. So that's my full video on using Fibonacci retracement in trading crypto. Video was a little bit too long, sorry for that, but hopefully you found it valuable. So for now, I'd like to thank you all for watching and listening, and I hope to see you all in my next videos. Bye.